or good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you see this. I'm not even sure when I'm going to post it, but I am recording it on a rainy Wednesday morning. My house is currently quiet, but it may not stay that way for long. I'm not sure how long this video will be. I'm just kind of taking it as I go. If you do not know me, my name is Liv. I'm here for lovely insights on behalf of lovely healing frequencies, lovely light healing frequencies. And I'm just here to share some information, thoughts, downloads, whatever you like to call them, that have come to me. I'm in the process of writing things down. My intention is to write a book with these insights and commingled with my personal story and journey, in hopes that it may resonate and help others. In the background, you may hear Malte Martin and Lucas Engelman performing, because I have that playing on my YouTube in the background. I find pan music very soothing, so kind of helps me get through this. What I say might be kind of scattered because I write it down as it comes, and I really haven't organized it yet. I'm just writing what I get. Some of the information will be things that I've gotten, thoughts on, and then researched and, seen what I could find that way. Some are reflections. Some are things, that already exist out there. Do your own research. I'm not here to diagnose, treat, or, tell anyone what to do. Do your own research. Talk to your doctors. Talk to mental health. Talk to whoever, social worker, whatever, and make your decisions from there. Take whatever resonates with you and leave whatever doesn't. I like to start this off with, in general, I'd like to talk about transmutation and basically transmuting our emotions in order to keep ourselves more balanced and resonate at a higher frequency overall. Let me turn this down a little. Alright. I'd like to start with one of my favorite poems ever. It's by Maya Angelou, called Still I Rise. Many of you may know this, but I think it fits well with what we're talking about. So, still I rise. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide. Welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. One of the reasons I love that poem is just tells you no matter what anyone says about you, what anyone thinks, what happens, we can still rise. Now, as far as transmutation, I've recorded and posted a video previously on a method to do that while I was singing, and you'll have to excuse my voice, I'm not a professional singer. Song Smile, that was a Nat King Cole song that really resonated with me and helps me be able to shift my feelings. Anyways, I'm going to be kind of flipping back and forth in my notes here because I have so many, and like I said, they're kind of scattered, so please bear with me. One of the things I'd like to talk about is the Hermetic principles and how they can help us shift and transmute so that we can change our frequency and therefore our experience. One of the first, Hermetic principles is called mentalism, the principle of mentalism, and that all is the mind, the universe is all mental. Our thoughts, our consciousness are what shapes reality. So, our reality, what we experience. So if you want to think about it simply, like if you're having a bad day, something happens, multiple things happen, kind of get you down, you're more apt to see and experience things in a negative frequency, a negative space, because that is where you're resonating. That's where your vibration is. Everything, which is another principle, in existence vibrates. Nothing is still. So everything has its own vibrational frequency, and what we experience in our reality is a reflection of the vibration that we're at. Do we experience things on different vibrational levels? Yes. We are vibrating at different frequencies at different points in time. Even like say my table, for example, that I wasn't able to obtain until I was at a vibrational frequency where that would manifest itself into my reality. So if I didn't have the money and I was focused on not having the money, and I need to focus on other things at the time, this table, I would have never seen it. It wouldn't have been in my vibrational frequency at the time. So, as that states, depending on where our vibrational level is, that is what shapes our reality. So, even our experiences with others, like there will be people that might be at a lower or higher frequency. We are generally attracted to things that are of a higher frequency than we are at ourselves. And if we don't do our own vibrational work to reflect and maintain that frequency, we might experience it, but we can't keep that in our reality, in our ongoing existence. It may, briefly be there, and then it will vibrate away to things that are more on its frequency, their frequency, unless their frequency lowers or, meets ours. It kind of works that way with relationships. When we're on one vibrational plane, we might attract other, lower vibrational frequencies to us because they are drawn to the higher vibration. Who's not? Everyone wants something that's better, that makes them feel better, that makes them happy. I'm not saying people are one person's better than another. It's not that at all. Just an experience is a more positive, peaceful experience. So of course we all want that. We want that love. We want that light. However, we are not always reflecting that ourselves. So if we do not do the work ourselves to reflect that frequency that we desire, we're not going to be able to maintain that relationship. So if we meet and attract someone and start dating someone at a higher frequency than us, and we're not taking, into account some things, maybe they can teach us some things and we can take that and do our own inner work or work on ourselves on our own individually, that relationship is more likely to fizzle out or have problems, because the higher vibrational frequency can pull a lower vibrational frequency up to meet it, and you can resonate together for a bit, but eventually that's going to get tiring. There's going to become some conflict and chaos and things that come about that will create problems for those things to resonate and continue to be expressed together. It's kind of how like counseling, couples counseling would work, or family counseling or things like that. When you have a rift, something that happens that tears the two things apart, you can seek someone out that would be able to identify where, maybe from an outside perspective, where that, things might be off, and it can help us. If we take it, it can help us to reflect within ourselves and work on those things if we really desire that relationship to work, no matter if it's, business, romance, friendship, whatever, familial, like it doesn't matter. We must do that work in order to vibrate at frequencies that will work in harmony together. If we don't do that work, then the vibrational gap gets larger. The one higher frequency cannot hold that lower frequency and do the work for it forever. It gets tired. It has to then turn to itself or drag its own vibrational frequency down. So if we think, this could kind of resonate with things like addiction, things, anything like that, where, the people you surround yourself with, you kind of tend to reflect those energies. So if they're at a higher frequency and you're reflecting their energy, you raise your frequency, and then you can resonate harmoniously together. If, say, like, okay, in the case of like addiction, where they say you shouldn't, meet someone and date someone at like a recovery center, because active, people in active addiction or people in recovery could, trigger each other and bring them back into a lower vibrational frequency. If one starts to, revert back to old ways and their frequency lowers, that could cause the other vibrational frequency that's trying to hold them up to then tire out and slip down into that same vibrational frequency, and then both will be in active addiction again. This applies to anything. it just helps. This is what shapes our reality, what we're allowing in and around us, and our reflection of it. Now, if we know that our frequencies are at a certain point, and we can tune into the fact that when certain things happen, our frequency shifts. It kind of reflects back to the principle of rhythm, knowing that everything flows. There's a rise and a fall, an ebb and a flow. You want to know that that's going to happen. Bad things are going to happen, good things are going to happen, and our reaction to that. If we find this out, we can better balance where we are within that flow at any given point in time, helping to keep us more at an even state. And we can utilize things such as the principle of cause and effect, where like, if this happens, I know X, Y, and Z helps me feel better, which will raise my frequency. So I'm going to do this when this part of a flow happens, and then that will help to keep my vibration at a more even level despite the ebb and flow that I'm experiencing. You may see my daughter walk by in a minute, and I apologize to her in advance if she does, because her alarm just went off. And we're kind of aimed at her door. Anyways, knowing that the rhythm of things, where the polarities are, the one extreme or the other, and knowing that everything is just, it's the same thing, just resonating at a different point in that frequency, can help us shift and slide our vibration to where we would like it to be. Again, this combines so many of the principles, because we're doing this in the mind. We're taking things and as within, so without. So we're taking what's within ourselves with the principle of correspondence and saying, we know this is going to happen, and I know that if I keep my inner world at a more even, balanced level, I'm going to be able to be expressed at an outer level at a more even, balanced frequency, despite the ebb and flow of what is going on. Utilizing things like music, meditation, exercise, mindfulness practices, talking to other people. These things shift our vibration because they are vibrating themselves. Even our voice as we speak, making noises, like when we're breathing, taking deep breath and breathing out with sound, helps us to be able to better recognize and feel our own vibration in this reality. So if we're meditating and you want to make a sound like an om or a ka or a ba or whatever you want to, there's plenty of different sounds you can make. Do, you can just sing it out even if you're not meditating. Place your hand on your chest. You can feel that vibration within self. That is your own frequency that you are reflecting and expressing at the time. And if we focus on this vibration, it can help center ourselves within us and be more in tune with ourselves, no matter what the outside experience is. This can help with things like anxiety, depression, things like that. I have some anxiety things that come up, and this is one of the things that I like to do is, to sing or to talk and to take deep breaths and exhale noisily, so that I can place my hand on my chest and feel that vibration, and it helps me center, and it has a calming effect. and helps me be more in tune with self, no matter what my thoughts may be thinking or what is going on the outside that may be triggering to myself. This is taking all kinds of different places where I wasn't planning on going. Water. I wanted to touch on water. I'm sorry, like I said, this may jump all over. Water, if you know, if you don't know, there is an artist, or I don't know what you want to call her, kind of like an artist-scientist combination. Her name is Veda Austin. I love her work. She takes water and freezes it in a certain method, and you can purchase this method, or if you cannot afford it, she has a version for free so that you can try it yourself at home and get your own experiences. What happens with her when she does this is she takes, dishes of water and she exposes them to different things, speaking words, photographs, music, things like that, and then she flash freezes them or quick freezes them, and the water will change shape based on the vibration that it experienced. So water holds and retains information that it is exposed to. One of the reasons I find this fascinating is, one, we all need water. We are made up mostly of water. Our earth, our planet is covered in so much water. And there's vibrational information held within that water. If you've ever heard of or, done, they do it a lot with, sometimes with children and things like that, those experiences where they will take like a plant and speak kind words to it, and take another one and speak negatively to it. And the growth and vitality of the plant changes based on what is exposed to. Those vibrations that we are speaking to it is being held in the water content, in the fluid, in those plants, and it is expressing in a certain way. The same is true of us, of all of the earth, of the water. If this is, the true thing, this is what is expressed. So if we are exposing ourselves to things that are negative, such as like negative self-talk, and we're not doing things to kind of counterbalance those, and keep our vibration higher, we are then living in a state of a lower vibrational frequency, because that is what we can express, because that is what the water in our body is holding within itself. This it can express physically as pain, illness, aging symptoms, things like that. And I'm not saying that these things don't exist outside of being at a lower vibrational rate, because they absolutely do, because we exist at a lower density. So these things are, will attach and express, be expressed if we don't transmute them. So in any part of healing, if we are doing the things to raise our vibrations, it doesn't mean that we're never going to experience pain. We're never going to get a sickness, but we experience those things at a less severe or less frequent level when we are doing the things that make our vibration resonate at a higher frequency that doesn't resonate with those things. So if you think of like, music that uplifts you, prayer, meditation, journaling, exercises, connection with others, things that make us feel good, being in positive energy, dancing, singing, and anything like that, going out into nature. These things help keep our vibration higher, which helps keep us healthier on all levels. Let's see, kind of like with neuroplasticity. If you know anything about neuroplasticity, it helps with things like, our brains can rewire themselves from states of, depression, anxiety, things like that, when we do the work. And this requires us to eat higher vibrational foods, have a better diet, do exercising to keep our bodies moving and keep those vibrations going, which the vibration that exists in our body when we are doing things like exercise and dancing and things like that help release endorphins in our body, and serotonin and dopamine. So we want to be doing those things. We want to be getting enough rest, because our body does need to recharge. We want to be doing mindfulness practices to help us reflect and shift our mindsets, things like that, to keep our vibration higher. When we can do these things, our brain can rewire itself to exist at a higher vibrational frequency, keeping us from being in prolonged states of depression and anxiety, and other illnesses as well. Back to the thing about the water, and our bodies being made up mostly of water. Within our bodies we have fascia. If you know about fascia, I'm going to see what I wrote down about it, but it's like connective tissue that's in our body, and it connects everything in our bodies. Our joints, our muscles, our organs, everything is covered and held into place by fascia. So fascia needs proper hydration for it to work effectively. It helps with smooth movement, and it carries signals, vibrational signals, energetic signals throughout the body. And in some cases this happens at a higher or quicker, faster rate than even our nerves, our central nervous system, because the vibration in the water and the fluid in our body moves faster. It's able to vibrate together. This is something that the whole vibrational thing, there's a while back, probably about 2 years now, I went into a meditative state, just meditating. And part of that meditation, I had turned into a butterfly, but then I hit this wall, and I went through it, and basically everyone and everything were these crystal things, and they were all connected. We were all connected, as we actually are, but in my meditation we were all connected by this kind of thin thread. And while I was in this meditative state, I, being my silly self, envisioned myself as this, in my crystal form, as being happy, and knowing that when I moved, it caused vibration to spread to everyone and everything else. So what I did was swing back and forth. I made kind of a little dancey thing. I spun around on my thread. I, yelled woohoo and happy little sounds and laughed and everything else. And this vibration caused the whole of everything to receive the vibration that I was putting out. So that's kind of like a way to, imagine or picture the way the fascia works within us and the way we are connected to everything else. So if our water that we're taking in is, of good quality, we want to make sure our body's at the right pH level, things like that. And we are instilling things at higher vibrational frequencies. Those frequencies are able to be passed through our bodies at that level to help our bodies work more harmoniously within itself and within our environment around us. The earth has its own sort of what I like to envision as its own kind of fascia. If you know anything about mycology and which is the growing of mushrooms and the study of mushrooms, there is a mycelial network within the ground. If you've ever grown a plant and had mushrooms pop up randomly in your house plant, this is kind of an example. The spores will float freely through the air, and they combine with the mycelial network that is in the soil that we're using, and that will then pop up in the right conditions, a fruiting body or, a mushroom body. So anyways, I'm getting off topic here. The mycelial network that is in the ground, in the soil, in our earth, works with everything around it that is growing. There are, you can look into it. There are studies about trees and how trees can send nutrients and things to other trees that exist around it that may need it. Like if one tree gets sick or, whatever, they can send those things to the other trees through the mycelial network. So working in harmony with the mycelium, which is in the earth. There are also things about how the mushroom growth and mycelial network can influence and trigger things like rain in forests and things like that. It's really fascinating stuff, and I urge you to look into it. This is kind of, in theory, and my theory, how we, what I've received from source, God, whatever you'd like to call it, downloads from the environment that are available to everyone at certain vibrational levels. So the things we see and can receive work kind of like an algorithm. What we express more and more, is what comes to us. If we're expressing a higher vibration, we are then able to access and have appear in our reality things at that vibrational level, which can be information. As people are empathetic, we can also work at a level, if we are in tune to other people's energies, where we can access information from the environment and things like that, that can aid others, not just ourselves, in order to help, because we are, kind of channeling their vibration to the environment also. We just need to make sure that we are maintaining our own vibrational level as well. This works like energy healing, where the energy healer is a great empath. And what we're doing when we energy heal is tuning into the frequency of the person that is receiving the healing, and we are taking that and resonating that out into the ethers, to the earth, and kind of drawing in things that may be at a higher frequency level as well. So that we take their frequency, combine it with ours, and transmute it at a level where we can access things that may help in vibration and frequency the person receiving the healing. And as long as we are both open and in tune and grounded, we can then apply those things in the healing sessions and offer information and things like that that can help the other person to experience their own healing. And then once that session is over, it is that person's job then to keep and maintain that vibrational frequency in order to better access that state of being for themselves and higher healing. Does this, and repeat sessions may be needed. Some people go all of the time, and it's not a negative thing. It doesn't mean it's not working. It just, might be something that requires more, higher rates of sessions. We also can then, take things and even come back at a higher frequency and then still, work on other things at a different level, or the same thing at a different level until it's resolved into a place we're happy with. Same thing with like group meditations, things like that. We can feed off of the other energies and vibrate harmoniously that way, which can help raise our own frequencies to that level. And then as we go away, we need to do the things to maintain those frequencies. Anyways, back to nature. This is one of the ways that nature is helpful with grounding, putting our bare hands and feet and things like that in the soil, on the earth, touching trees, holding rocks, things like that, crystals. They all hold their own energetic frequencies. And as kind of like synapses work, where in our brain, where, energy, the signal travels and then makes the synaptic jump, and the energy travels to the next thing to create a response. Same thing, kind of, there's energy within the earth, within all of these things, within the environment around us, within music, color, sound, smells, things that we're eating, and we have them within ourselves. And kind of, with our nervous system and our fascia, we're doing these things, and the energy is traveling from the earth, or from, the sound that we're hearing and whatever, and it's traveling through our body, through the fluid, through the water, through our spinal cord up to our brain, in that fluid, in our spinal fluid, and which is very likened to seawater if you look into that. And this helps us in the long run in our healing journey. And different spots in the earth have different vibrational frequencies, kind of like different parts of the body have different vibrational frequencies. If we think about chakras and nadis, the energetic channels within our body and the energetic ley lines within the earth, these help shift the resonance at different spaces, at different levels, which help us better able to fine tune them. The same with music, different frequencies can cause different, resonance at different areas, because that is where they are in tune to. Color, things like that, they all have their own frequency. Even like spices that we use in our cooking and things like that are different vibrational frequencies. Aromatherapy, oils, essential oils, things like that, they have different vibrational frequencies. So we can kind of fine tune things to what we would like expressed by doing our research into the vibrational frequencies of everything we're experiencing, surrounding ourselves with, where we choose to live, the people we choose to be around. Um, and this all aids in our own journey and our own healing, helping us to better self-actualize. If you think of things like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and kind of lay it over the chakra system, and you can see how those play in together, where as when we balance and meet the needs of the different areas in the chakras, it helps us reach the point at the top where we can self-actualize. We can't be focused on self-actualization if well, we can focus on it, but we have a harder time trying to reach it if we're worried about things like food, shelter, something harming us, things like that. So we have to shift our vibrational state so that we can meet those needs, and the energy can travel and flow upward. And as we do this, it helps open the channels so that we can draw in energy both from our environment and the earth, and source, God, Gaia, whatever you believe in, the energy will flow within us back and forth, we can act as both a receiver and a transmitter, and we affect everything around us, going back again to those hermetic principles. Talking about the things being connected, kind of what was revealed to me was kind of like existence, and people talking about light workers and chosen ones. The fact is that we are all